All right, so look, everybody's kind of baffled by what Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll are doing with this offensive line. Everybody agrees that Jermaine Illuminor should be playing right tackle. Evan Neal should be kicked inside. And honestly, man, with what those two have on the line this year in Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll, why do you even want to play these games, man? You need to have a solid season from this team record-wise, and you need to show some growth. So when it comes to Evan Neal, why don't you just put the right tackle thing on the back burner for one season and kick him inside and let Illuminor play his most productive spot at right tackle and see how things play out? Evan Neal is young, man. Move him inside for a year and see how that works out. You can always move him back to the spot that you originally intended him to play at, which is right tackle. Give him a year. Let him get his feet underneath him. Gain some confidence. Maybe he gets that play in the right guard spot. Just to see. Maybe he likes the spot. Even though I know he's said in the past that he has no interest at playing the interior of that offensive line. And that may be one of the big reasons why they haven't tried to move him inside. Because he is reluctant to do so. He has come out and stated this. The Big Blue Crew, they had a live stream last night. I just finished listening to it. So I've been writing comments underneath, you know, in the comment section. But I wrote this in terms of the offensive line, and basically what I stated when Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll were both hired here. And this is something that Authentic talks about. One of the videos that I made, he always refers to that video. And I talked about, you know, why I always wanted Adam Peters to be our GM as opposed to Joe Schoen. I said Daboll and Schoen always had a middle-of-the-pack O-line in Buffalo, which they did, because Josh Allen is an extremely difficult player to bring down when defenders get in that backfield. Always has been. I said, you think Josh Allen didn't help that line in terms of overall ranking? I said, hell, that line in Buffalo, when those two were there, could have been ranked in the 20s plus if Josh Allen wasn't such a difficult player to reel in, like I just said. I said that from the very beginning. These two were hired. This organization put too much stock into what Josh Allen became, and they completely ignored what that Bills team was as a whole. Exactly why I said Adam Peters should have been the GM, because he helped build such a well-rounded team in the 49ers. From top to bottom, defense, offense, all the way around, special teams, whatever you want to say. That team was stocked. You couldn't find too many flaws in that team. Buffalo, there were plenty of flaws on that team. In the running game, defensively, some of their offensive weapons outside of Diggs weren't exactly, you know, Davis had some good games here and there, but he wasn't very consistent. Like, Diggs was always the guy. Dawson Knox, he'd make plays here and there. But outside of Stephon Diggs, they really didn't have much else. They put everything on Josh Allen's shoulders. And I have said this in the past, God only knows how many times. Brian Daboll arguably could have cost his team trips to numerous Super Bowls because he refused to run the freaking ball with the Buffalo Bills. Time of possession, man. Everybody wants to talk about how the Bills defense gave up so many points. Well, nobody ever thinks about the fact that the Bills were just lining up and scoring in a very short amount of time. They weren't killing any clock. They were putting the defense right back out there on the field. And again, everything was put on Josh Allen's shoulders year after year after year. Make this pass. You know, dodge a couple defenders, run up the field, gain the yards, get everything that we need. It was all placed on Josh Allen. He got no help from that running game. And arguably, the fact that Brian Daboll abandoned the running game, killed that team's time of possession, you know, put the defense in difficult spots, it could have cost them a couple trips to the Super Bowl. And Brian Daboll could be fully responsible for that. So no, I'm not surprised by the shenanigans that are taking place with this line right now when it comes to Jermaine Illuminor, Jon Runyan, and Evan Neal. You know, the two guys that we hired, they may not have ever even been able to put together a line to begin with because their quarterback that they had in their previous spot masked all the issues that they could have potentially had if they had a lesser quarterback. These are all things that I've talked about on this channel. But again, you know, people don't give me any likes. Don't give me any subscriptions, nothing. These are all things that I've uttered on this channel. Like I'm talking to a freaking wall. Like there's no truth behind what I'm talking about.